Hello, hello. It is the one and only God Johnny, 5D Transformations. I'm here. Um, and this is a great time. I took a little while before I dropped a new video because I've leveled up to a new level in my personal journey. And the good thing is, when I level up in my personal journey, it creates an opportunity for me to give you information that will help you level up on your personal journey, because that's really what it's all about, right? I can only help you as much as I can help myself. So, with that being said, the information I'm going to drop going into 2025 is going to be next level. This is stuff that I've known for a while, but I have been dropping a lot of information um, as Coach Johnny so that I can bring a lot of the information down to earth for people to understand. But as I begin to drop this new information about MBTI, about the mind, about personal development, because I am a personal development coach, and that's what 5D Transformations is all about. Um, Now it's time for me to I can't block or try to, um, hone in this information and this level of power that I feel within and that I want to share with you all. So, that's why I'm going back to the original origin, God Johnny, which is um, my true name that I've given myself through my journey. It's what I look at as my higher self, the version of myself that I've always aspired to be. And that's what I'm living every day. And so you're going to see with the information I share. So I'm like, yeah, Coach Johnny was cool. You can still call me Coach Johnny if you have any kind of ideas about God Johnny. But what we have to understand is the name God is just an English name for creator. Everyone has a different name around the world of what they consider to be that highest source of power, that highest ideal. And so for me, God Johnny just represents creator Johnny. It represents, me tapping into that highest version of myself. And, and that's why I want to share it with you all authentically. And so that's what it is. So with that being said, let's talk about some different things because it's time to get into the information. So I'm going to stick with MBTI. Just to be clear, I truly believe that MBTI is one of the most powerful sciences on the planet. If you want to understand your mind, if you want to understand other people, if you want to understand uh, the human element of life, and if you really want to have the ability to have a different level of power in the game of life, that's what MBTI will help you do. And I'm telling you this from experience. So with that being said, I want to shine the light on MBTI because it's personally changed my life. And I want to go into some deeper aspects of MBTI because at the end of the day, there's plenty of people that can tell you about the different types. I have a course that's currently out called MBTI Magic. You can check out the course. It's on Patreon, and it explains all the different types, the deeper information about MBTI, how it aligns with the four elements. We talk about Carl Jung a bit on there, and the Myers Briggs sisters that helped create, that MBTI system, which branched off from Jungian typology. And then we also explain the different types, their hidden power, and also their superpower. We also explain how the different types look when they're under stress, how they deal with stress, when they go through what we call the grip, which is when you're going through a period of time where you have to rely on your other functions, and it can be stressful. And so what you find is every type goes through stress differently. And what you find out is every type brings something different to the game of life. And so that's what you'll find out in that course. And you can learn about yourself and others. So make sure you check that out on the 5D Patreon. The link is in the bio. So check that out because the price is going to skyrocket, to be quite honest, when, Like it's pretty much going to be skyrocketed up by the time you watch this, probably. So, but if you watch it before I do that, more power to you. Because to be honest, I already know this information, and to be honest, I really don't care if you figure this stuff out or not. I'm just doing my job of getting the information out to you. If you decide to watch the course or not watch the course, doesn't matter to me because I already know this information, so I don't really care. I'm just doing my civil duty of sharing it to give people the opportunity to experience, um, high level breakthroughs like I have in my life. So that's that. So what you got to understand, which is what I want to stress in this video, is this key understanding of why MBTI is so powerful. And what you will find is the reason why MBTI is so powerful. I'm gonna pull up this picture here. And so let me see if I can zoom in. So this is what MBTI, and I'm gonna do a separate video on how MBTI aligns with the universal laws and how it's spiritually very balanced the way it was created, and which is why it's so effective. But that's another story. I'll do that in a future video. Right now, you have to understand. Now, you have the left and right brain. Okay, and I understand this is a very simplistic or simplified way of looking at the brain. If you compartmentalize the brain, what you'll find is that the brain is very complex and it has a lot of, you know, it's a much deeper science when we talk about the brain. It's not just, oh, left and right. But generally speaking, what you'll find is that the left and right brain have two different functions and they work together. Now, when we talk about the left brain is generally considered the more analytical side of our brains. When we think of mathematics, when we think of structure, when we think of logic, separating things, compartmentalizing, mathematics, black and white, dividing things, organizing things. All of that is with the left brain. When we think of the right brain, this is where let's say that if the left brain are the lines that draw the outline of everything, the right brain will be the color that you put within the lines. It's the imagination, it's ideas, it's feelings, it's intuition, it's imagining. It's that creative element that we have, and so what you'll find is it's not as linear, right? In order to be creative, you have to veer away from logic. Like when you think of a show like SpongeBob, right? A sponge talking or a sponge communicating with a squirrel, logically, that doesn't make sense, right? The left brain would be like, what is going on? This makes no sense. But the right brain is creative. So it's the creativity that allows that to exist to where people, they see a sponge talking to a squirrel and a squid. And it's like, it makes sense to people because that's the right brain. That's creativity. That's the imagination. And what has happened in the world is a lot of the time we try to, look down on that right brain side, right? Like when you think of scientists, you're thinking of lab coats, guys that are operating off of logic, and it seems like they got it all figured out. And then you look at somebody like the creator of SpongeBob or the show SpongeBob and look at that like it's fake. But how can you do that when SpongeBob has real implications on our physical reality? Like we all, first of all, the creators of that show make real money. Children really, they watch this show. People know the words to the show, to the theme song. I mean, SpongeBob and these different shows and cartoons and these things that we see as fake, like the entertainment industry altogether is one of the biggest drivers of our economy. So you can't discard it like it's fake. So what you'll end up finding out is that it's not about just being logical and analytical. It's also about being creative and intelligent in a way that is intuitive, in a way that, there's also something called emotional intelligence, like emotions matter. And what you'll find is MBTI totally speaks to this balance. Okay. Just to give you a bit about my personal journey, there was a point in time where I used to think as an ENFP. like, man, am I too intuitive? Am I too airy? Am I just like this feeler intuitive that just has all these ideas, but none of them have any real credence in the real world? And my life changed when I had a big realization, thanks to an amazing teacher that I've come across. And maybe I'll talk about that in a future video. But he helped me understand that it's not about being left brain dominant. It's not about solely just relying on your thinking and your sensing. Like when you look at math and science and the science community, they're so big on thinking and sensing. Like the only thing we view as facts is stuff that you can see and prove is exist from if I don't see it, then I can't believe it, right? When you think of the scientific community, it very much relies on seeing is believing. And then, but on the right brain side, they can go too far as well at times, where it's like people who are super religious, right? Or people who are solely believe in hope, but they don't do any of the logical steps to make things happen. They just pray and hope things happen, and it doesn't work like that either. So what you'll find with MBTI is when it comes to the left brain, you're generally dealing with the thinking functions and the sensing. But because these are the things that you can physically see, they're logical, they're things that are linear. But then when you look at the right brain side, we're dealing with intuition and feeling. So you're dealing with your intuition, your ideas, you're dealing with your feelings. These are your right brain side. And my life changed when I realized that it's not about just being this scientific guy that just believes in what you see and what's logical. You actually have to balance that with intuition and feeling. And what you'll find with MBTI is you get to see how people look when you see personality types that lean more toward thinking and sensing. Then when you see personality types that lean more toward intuition and feeling, they have a completely different expression. And what you find out is that they exist on two sides of the spectrum. And if you're doing the proper work, what you should be trying to do is be in the middle. What you should be trying to do is, if you are super logical and sensory, you should try to develop a little bit more intuition and try to develop a little bit more of that feeling element. And you can do that by learning from your counterparts that have feeling and intuition. And then the same thing exists on the other side. If you have a lot of intuition and you're a feeler, your work is going to be to try to work on being more grounded and more practical and in the sensory world, and actually following logic more, so that you can be in the middle. And what you'll find is that once you find a good balance, you actually become so holistic and so much more dynamic. And that's been my personal experience. So I'm gonna just stop there for now, because we can go real deep, but that's what my MBTI course is designed to help you do. It's designed to help explain things, help you understand yourself first. And I want everyone to understand that that's what it's about. You have to understand yourself first, because when you understand yourself, you then can begin to understand others in a much more dynamic way. But I notice, especially with a lot of extroverted feeling types, um, they spend so much time focusing on others, and a lot of the time they disregard their own feelings, their own self. And you're not going to be successful in that type of way, because it all begins with the self. And then from there, it goes back to the ancient principle of as within, so without. So, whatever you fix within, you're able to now help others with that. And that's what I'm doing here, right? Like, I've had an amazing experience with MBTI, and it's transformed my life first. And now I can go ahead and help you all. But I notice there's a lot of people out there that learn about MBTI, or they really, I know people who learn about anything, and then they want to jump out there and act like an authority in the science, trying to tell people what to do, how to be. And then when you look at them, they don't even practice what they preach. They don't even, exemplify what they are trying to tell everybody else to do. And I would never want to be one of those types of people. And that's not, and I'm not one of those types of people. And I don't want to move down that direction, because a true teacher, has to exemplify what they teach. So let me tell you, man, there's so much uh, power that exists within the study of MBTI. Obviously, I'm going to talk about other things, but I always want to kind of bring it back to MBTI because when I started this channel, that was one of the things that I wanted to teach, because I feel as though it can help a lot of people. And it's one of those practical tools. It's not as airy, like it's not like I'm coming up here just talking about a bunch of, you know, um, just deep information that's very airy. MBTI is something that you can learn, something that you can apply, something that you can see around you. The people that you see with different personality types, you can see them doing it in real time. So it really is a provable work. And I'm gonna close out with this. There's people out there that call MBTI pop psychology, and let me just tell you, you know, if you consider that pop psychology, or if you consider that as if it's not true, I think one of the biggest problems people have is that the reason why they think MBTI isn't real is because, or why it isn't really effective, or is because a lot of the time people try to type themselves, and that's going to leave room for error. When people are typing themselves or taking a test, and they get, and it spits out this personality type, um, what happens is people, they type themselves incorrectly when they're answering the questions. A lot of the time people answer questions based on how they would like to see themselves versus how they really are, or they may type themselves based on how they're acting currently versus how their default self is. So there's a lot of room for error, and that's why I recommend getting someone that is an MBTI practitioner or a teacher, or so that they can type you through a series of questions, and then from there you can learn your type, and then you'll actually find out how accurate it is. So that's another service that I offer. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to offer it much longer, because to be honest, like the price that I used to charge for typing someone, I just can't charge that price anymore. But in the meantime, if you really want to get typed, feel free to reach out to me. And in the meantime, I can try to do it for those. Just reach out to me on my email. It is your 5, the number 5D, which as in dimension. So your 5D transformations. And that's transformations with the S at the end at gmail.com. So your 5D transformations at gmail.com. If you really want to get typed by me, let me know. Otherwise, there's plenty of people out there, plenty of MBTI practitioners that can do it for you. And I'm telling you, what I'm going to start dropping now is going to be the deeper aspects of MBTI, just deeper aspects of information, period, when we talk about the mind and personal development. So, buckle up your seats. If you're really about that self-development, you're going to love this channel. And if you're not, then you should probably, that's on you. I don't really know what you should do. But for the people who are interested in real development, I'm here. And I look forward to dropping some very great videos for you in 2025. We're officially back. I know I take a lot of breaks, because, I'm not one of these guys that's chasing YouTube fame. Like, I'm not going to sit here and drop a video every single day just to build up my algorithm. I'm just not that pressed, to be honest. I do this because it's my purpose, and I'm doing this for the world. It's a bigger purpose behind this than trying to, be a YouTuber. So that's all I can say there. But with that being said, I thank you all for listening. Get ready for some fire information. And don't forget, let the light within you shine bright. It's the one and only 5D transformations. I will see you in the next video.